missed all the fun stuff.
We've got evidence that isn't telling us the whole story.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Actually, this is my first time on CSI 1.
The evidence can't be wrong.
I think I'll be right at home here.
Don't miss CSI, CBS Thursday.
A woman allegedly attacks her boyfriend with a machete, then calls her husband to finish the job. CBS 3 Springfield's Matthew Campbell has more on this violent love triangle.
Western Mass drama playing out on the Connecticut shore. A love getaway goes out of control. 29-year-old Nicole Gomez accused of hacking her boyfriend with a 14-inch machete.
And it's tough to tell what's going on here.
The judge confused by the love triangle, but was able to sort it out. Police say Nicole was vacationing with her Ludlow boyfriend Corey Moreau at Camp Niantic. Somehow a fight ensued, she slashing him with a machete.
Able to know that he was bringing a machete down there and, do some crazy stuff.
But the craziness continues. Police allege Nikki called her husband, 29-year-old Yamir, for help.
Yet she's able to call Chicopee or somewhere up there in Massachusetts. He comes back down there, so the two of them are in a general area of each other.
She's calling for help.
After stewing from his 1-hour drive from Chicopee, he's accused of finishing off the job she started. When Yamir saw Corey, police say he ran him down with his car. Both husband and wife are held on thousands in bond. Tonight, the Ocean Dreams spa where she worked, empty. Neighboring businessmen can't believe the blonde they know had a violent side.
Never thought would they do that. They seem easygoing, and they're such a nice people.
Now, we were able to reach out to Moreau, the victim in this case. He wasn't at his Ludlow home, but his mom was. She says Corey's recovering from some pretty serious wounds, including a 6-inch gash from the machete, but she insists she doesn't think Nicole meant any harm. And Nicole, they've been seeing her son for a couple of months now after Nicole's marriage went downhill. Live in the newsroom tonight, Matthew Campbell, CBS 3 Springfield.
The stab wounds were on her torso and her upper chest area and in her back, and it looked like defense wounds and wounds on her arms.
Springfield police say a house fire on Sunday was really a cover-up for murder. Anna Cruz was found dead in her Bay Street home on the floor outside a bedroom. Her house was engulfed in flames. Police say the 38-year-old mother of 4 died from multiple stab wounds and smoke inhalation. Police say the victim was in the middle of separating from her husband. Cruz's family will not comment on her estranged spouse, but say they want justice.
Hopefully that with everything and all the evidence that they've come across, they'll find whoever did this, and hopefully it won't be too long so that she can rest in peace.
Police have not made an arrest, but say they have been working on this case around the clock and are following leads. It's happened yet again. Another accident involving an elderly driver. Medfield police say an elderly woman hit 2 children and their grandmother near a crosswalk outside a church. The elderly driver had just left Mass when she struck them. All 3 were taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No charges have been filed against the driver. The cause of the accident is still unknown. Animal lovers for and against the devocalization of dogs weighed in after a bill was filed to ban debarking here in the Bay State. Now, debarking creates a softer bark by snipping or removing a dog's vocal cords. Trouble swallowing and respiratory distress caused by the growth of scar tissue are some of the medical problems that can occur.
And when there is a problem such as barking or other behavior, we should really be willing to put the time in to solve it behaviorally and not surgically.
This is a last resort procedure, and it needs to be left in place because it's going to save dogs, and it's going to keep dogs that are loved in the homes with people that love them.
If the debarking bill is passed, it will ban the procedure unless it's a medical necessity. Being overdrawn on your bank account by $20, $50, or even $100 really is not that unusual, but imagine seeing a $23 quadrillion overdraft on your account. That's what happened to a New Hampshire man after he swiped his debit card at a gas station to buy a pack of cigarettes. The man wondered whether he should call a debt relief company or how he'd pay it all off.
It is a lot of money in the negative, something I could never, ever afford to pay back. My children couldn't afford, grandchildren, nothing like that.
The bank corrected the error the next day. Bank of America says only the card issuer, Visa, could answer questions. Visa, in turn, referred questions back to the bank. A New York teenager found herself in a rotten situation after she fell while texting. The teen was so involved in her cell phone and texting her friend, she did not notice an open manhole in the sidewalk. The teen fell several feet down below into raw sewage.
I just look up and I look around. I'm like, I thought it was something out of a movie where like someone's gonna take me under.
Something like that should have never happened. There should have been cones in place. There should have been a man in place.
Workers on the scene told the teen's mother they had left the manhole unattended in order to get cones to mark it off. Officials are investigating the incident. For the next 45 days, the Quabbin Reservoir will be off limits to boats. Officials say they're worried about zebra mussels. It's an invasive species. The Quabbin supplies drinking water for more than 2 million Boston residents. Officials stress that no zebra mussels have been found in the central Massachusetts reservoir. Last week's discovery of the mussels in Laurel Lake in Berkshire County was the first here in the Bay State. The mussels can clog water intake pipes and kill native aquatic animals.
Now, your extended forecast in the first 5 minutes.
And outside tonight, we're seeing those temperatures not as cool as the past couple of nights, so that's a bit of good news, but all of that goes to say that more moisture is coming into the area slowly but surely. Not showing up on the Doppler right now. It's actually going to be a rather peaceful night, but the readings slowly moving down into the 60s and eventually into the 50s. But this time around, I think those 40s may not be in the picture, which is good. But as you look off to the west, you can see 2 real areas of moisture here. Some very strong thunderstorms in the Tennessee Valley and also a line of showers moving across into parts of upstate New York and eventually in northern New England. But you can pretty much connect the dots ever so slightly. There is a frontal system slowly trying to inch its way over to the east, and that's what we expect to encounter during the course of the day tomorrow. But because the moisture looks kind of weak, we may not be seeing these all-day washout type of events. Nevertheless, we could get a rumble of thunder or two in Thursday afternoon, and parts of Saturday. Friday may be a little bit of a lull, but nevertheless, it appears our streak of perfectly dry weather is going to be coming to an end. We'll take you through the whole forecast hour by hour coming up.
Sir Paul McCartney visited the Ed Sullivan Theater in New York City for the first time since his performance there with the Beatles 4 decades ago on The Ed Sullivan Show. McCartney will spend a whole hour with Dave Letterman on tonight's Late Show. We'll have more previews coming up in tonight's Talkers. Well, Sonia Sotomayor appears all but certain to be confirmed as the next Supreme Court justice, but that's not stopping senators from grilling her about her record and her view on controversial court decisions. It's day 3 of her confirmation hearings. Hari Srinivasan has the latest from Washington.
Senators honed in on abortion rights during Supreme Court nominee Sonia Sotomayor's 3rd day of confirmation hearings.
What is the settled law in America about abortion?
In Planned Parenthood versus Casey, the court reaffirmed the core holding of Roe versus Wade that a woman has a constitutional right to terminate her pregnancy in certain circumstances.
But that's as far as she went. Sotomayor refused to answer hypothetical questions about abortion.
I probably couldn't opine because I'm sure that situation might well arise before the court.
Confirmation hearings are scheduled to run till the end of the week. Senators will hear from almost 30 witnesses arguing whether Judge Sotomayor should or should not be confirmed to the High Court. Among them, Frank Ritchie. He's the Connecticut firefighter who sued the city of New Haven, claiming discrimination. Sotomayor ruled against Ritchie. That decision was later overturned by the Supreme Court. But before lawmakers hear from him, they'll finish up their second round of questions for the nominee. Some lawmakers could return to gun rights.
We would keep an open mind if the Supreme Court takes up the question of whether the Second Amendment can be incorporated against the states. Is that right?
Yes, Senator. I take every case by case, and my mind is always open, and I make no prejudgments as to conclusions.
Thursday is expected to be Sotomayor's last day fielding questions from senators. Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, the Supreme Court.
Some unlikely lobbyists are trolling Capitol Hill to protect an animal they would rather not run into again. Nearly a dozen shark attack victims, many of them badly scarred or missing limbs, pressed Congress to strengthen laws protecting sharks from overfishing and finning. Finning is when the fins are sliced from sharks for their meat and the rest of the fish is left for dead. Although it is already banned in the U.S. waters, the new legislation raises the stakes if violators are caught. It also promotes preservation.
A lot of people might see sharks as these vicious killing machines, but we see them as a vital part of the ocean ecosystem.
73 million sharks are killed a year, putting some on the brink of extinction. A two-vehicle crash in Southwick claims the life of a motorcycle rider. Police say Stephen Bishop of Westfield died when his bike collided with a car on North Long Yard Road. He lived about a mile from the accident scene. His son tells us Michelle Alvarez of Southwick was pulling into a driveway when she hit his father. Charges have not been filed. Police are investigating. The search is on for a bandana-wearing bandit who robbed a Dunkin' Donuts store in Springfield. Police say he entered the Pride gas station on East Columbus Avenue and demanded money from the Dunkin' Donuts clerk at around 4 o'clock this morning. He pulled out a knife, so the clerk opened the drawer. Police say the thief was wearing a gray bandana and got away with about $100 in cash. Caught on tape, a man enters the Tiger Mart in Westfield as the clerk is counting cash. He pulls out a gun and demands money. Take a good look at this guy. Police are asking for your help to identify him. If you see him, he helps himself to the register before taking off. Westfield police believe he may be the same person who stole cash at Dunkin' Donuts on Meadow Street in Chicopee around 7 o'clock last night. A Habitat for Humanity home just a month away from being completed has a major setback. Officials say a thief broke into this home on Pomona Street in Forest Park and nearly cleaned the place out. The kitchen cabinets, bathroom sink, and even the toilet were stolen. Volunteers have been working on the home every weekend for a year. Officials still cannot believe someone got away with such a crime.
I mean, I assume that maybe they're going to replace the room in their house, but just why would you walk into somebody's house and take it? I can't fathom what goes through somebody's mind to do that.
Officials estimate the loss at almost $3,000. The home was scheduled to be finished by this summer. It now may take several more weeks before that happens. Russell residents continue their fight against a proposed biomass plant in town. You're looking at the latest meeting held this afternoon at the elementary school. The proposed plant will be built near the school, and if it's a go, hundreds of trucks will drive the two-lane road at all times of the day as children learn. That's just one of the complaints opponents have.
The diesel emissions from the trucks, which would be blown directly up to my deck and my family. I'm the closest home to the trucking route. And
a walking tour of the proposed site was scheduled after the meeting, where opponents will see firsthand how close this plant could be to homes. Coming up on CBS 3 Springfield News, 7th time is the charm. After more than a month's delay, Shuttle Endeavour thundered into orbit, heading towards the International Space Station. And a Michigan neighborhood is shaken up after a house is leveled by an explosion.
And we're in the mood for another tranquil night, but however, this time tomorrow it should be raining in parts of the region. We take you through the whole forecast next.
This summer, when severe weather strikes, the CBS 3 Springfield weather team is ready with accurate and reliable weather coverage. On air, online, and on Weather Now. Get the most accurate forecast when accuracy matters the most. Only on CBS 3 Springfield.
Out of the thousands upon thousands of furniture stores in the United States, how many offer you a choice of 10 different recliners for just $2.99 each? No wonder My Bob's Discount Furniture was voted #1 National Furniture Retailer of the Year.
This will be the best summer ever. Good times, good people together.
These are the final days of Toyota's Best for Less sales event. Fuel-efficient Toyotas for less. Like the 32 MPG Camry. Get a $199 a month lease plus $500 cash back. Or check out over 20 offers not seen on TV at buyatoyota.com. Toyota's Best for Less sales event ends August 3rd. Don't miss your final chance to save.
My Bob's Way is to give you package deals. This sofa, matching love seat, 3 great tables, and 2 matching lamps, individually a spectacular value at $12.15. But My Bob's Way package price, all 7 pieces, only $9.99, saves you $216.
Belize Toyota has over 800 Toyotas on sale right now.
Now, CBS 3 Springfield weather.
Hopefully you got a chance to get outside and enjoy the cloudless blue sky because there's some rain coming.
That's right. It was just gorgeous today, though, and unfortunately we got to give some of that back here. Talking about the rain showers, we've been looking at them all week. Very slow going as far as getting them here, and unfortunately that means once they finally do make it here, they may be hanging around for a little while. So let's take a look out there right now, and this is what you like to see. It's just a very nice and peaceful evening. Taking a walk, it doesn't even feel cold this time around. And as you look at Monarch Tower, no problem. 67 degrees out there. Humidity 70%, so inching up a little higher than we've seen in the past couple of days. Let's have a check of the radar map and notice despite the nice pleasant weather here, we are seeing a little bit of humidity start to approach from the west here. And all of this is in response to this batch of moisture up here. It actually is a frontal system snaking all the way down the west side of the Appalachian Mountains. And some of that will be moving over toward the east during the day tomorrow. And picking up a little moisture in the heating hours of the afternoon, and that energy will eventually give us some more of those rains coming back into the area. So let's have a look at the headlines for tonight. Across the region, sun is eventually taking a break and the rain showers move in. It's not a washout, just scattered showers, but it is a rather unsettled weather pattern, and as you notice here, some of those clouds are already starting to move in. Now here's your line of cloud cover right here. I think that once it gets on the other side of the Appalachians, a little bit more moisture will get infused into the system, but right now the Great Lakes supplying a lot of that out that way. So we're going to continue to watch this here because after it moves offshore, it's going to end up stalling and not really making it through the area, and that's why each of the next couple of days there's going to be a focus zone for some more of those annoying showers to kind of pop up, just like we've already seen several other times before in the late spring and early summer. Temperatures right now across the region, this is what we've got. Already sinking down into the mid-60s, 61 in North Adams, getting into the 50s there for the morning, but we may hold the line down south here, more likely in the 50s instead of those very cold 40s like we had this morning. Futurecast showing those clouds streaming in. High cloudiness, not really associated with moisture, but once you move into Thursday, despite any limited sunshine you begin the day with, by the afternoon hours, we are going to be watching more of these scattered showers and storms kind of popping up and moving around. Not for everybody, but I think you'll have to encounter them if you got some of those commuting rides across the region. Getting into the nighttime hours, same thing. Still looking at some of those showers on the wane. Now, as you move on into Friday, you could begin the day okay, and even in the afternoon, we may get some partly sunny skies, which will turn things very muggy and warm before you know it. You can see a few upper 80s across the area, but we are looking for a resurgence of scattered showers as we hit the afternoon hours Friday as well. But I think the most of it will be moving through during the day tomorrow and Saturday as well. Up to the north, temperatures close to the 80-degree mark, so sort of on the seasonable side. Certainly when you throw in some showers into the picture, but if the rain comes a little earlier, we may kind of cap off how high these temperatures get. Just keep in mind, though, most of the rain should be just garden variety, but just be on the lookout for some of those rumbles of thunder if you have them coming across the area. So tonight, 58 for your low. All the rain should hold off. And then during the day tomorrow, that's when it moves in. Temperatures initially on the up and up as we expect to start off with a little bit of sunshine before we get clouded over just like this. Now, as you move on into the next couple of days here, Friday as well looks to have a few scattered showers, but I think Friday it's going to be at a minimum. Expect to see some warm and humid afternoons there. Saturday, a little different, more scattered showers and storms, and we'll have to watch the weekend as well. So that's your forecast. Don't forget the website, CBS3Springfield.com, and of course, Weather Now running all the time on Comcast Cable Channel 293.
The Space Shuttle Endeavour is on its way to the International Space Station. It took 6 tries, but it finally blasted off from Florida's Kennedy Space Center. A series of technical and weather-related problems kept it grounded for more than a month. But as Drew Levinson reports, all is good now.
It was a long time in coming, but the clouds finally parted. 3, 2, 1. Allowing the Space Shuttle Endeavour to blast off from the Kennedy Space Center.
And liftoff of Endeavour.
Endeavour was originally set to go June 13th, but scrubbed twice because of hydrogen leaks. And it was delayed 3 more times because of bad weather.
The weather has just bitten us again with lightning within 20 nautical miles and within violation of our launch weather.
The 5 delays were one shy of the record. 2 missions, one in 1986, the other in 1995, were scrubbed 6 times. They made it up on the 7th attempt. For NASA, this is a complex mission to the International Space Station. The astronauts will replace several vital parts and add even more, including the last stage of the Japanese Space Lab. The 7 astronauts will join the 6 already there, marking the most people ever in the space station at one time. Drew Levinson, CBS News, the Kennedy Space Center.
Michigan family is counting their blessings after they escaped with minor injuries following a house explosion. As you can see, the blast leveled the home. Neighbors say the explosion was followed by a fire. It's believed a gas leak triggered the incident. 2 adults and a 3-year-old were home at the time. An official says this family is lucky to be alive.
Oh, they're very lucky. The mother woke up with smelled the gas, and before she could even get out, the house exploded. If the family would have been sleeping and nobody smelt it, there would have been 3 fatalities instead of 3 injuries. Minor injuries, thank God of that.
The adult victims reportedly had extreme burns on their arms and legs. Meanwhile, the child was not hurt. The blast remains under investigation. An 11-year-old boy from Pittsburgh was rescued after a sand tunnel he was building collapsed right at him. Beach Patrol members at Ocean City Beach in Maryland dug out the boy just after the accident occurred. He was not breathing and had no pulse when he was pulled from the sand. Lifeguards on duty were able to resuscitate him, and he started to talk in the ambulance. The boy is leaving the hospital today. Coming up on CBS 3 Springfield News, we'll have the details about a new park that may be built in East Longmeadow in memory of a loved one. And find out how Springfield residents may get the much-needed help to repair their houses.
On CBS.
A Southwick man is hoping to make a generous donation to the town. CBS 3 Springfield's Justine Judge has more about his dream to turn some land into a public park.
John Wally and his family take a walk. A 70-acre plot he purchased, not for himself, but instead for the town. Wally has plans to develop the land and turn it into a public park with athletic fields, a bandstand, a skate park, a concession stand, and nature trails. Wally is president of the town's Preservation Commission. The commission actually tried to buy the property once before, but couldn't come up with the funds. That's why Wally decided it was up to him.
We've decided to do it with our own money and get it developed and get it completed, and then donate it to the town if they'll accept it.
There'd be no possibility of us getting this unless it was given. And I think it's a great thing that he's doing.
All in all, Wally will be donating a park estimated at $8 million right next to the town's motocross track and athletic fields off Powder Mill Road. He says it's all worth it. The park will be built in memory of his son, John, who died 2 years ago.
I just think it would mean a lot to him. He loved the outdoors, and that's where he wanted to be.
Wally says his son and all 11 of his grandchildren have essentially grown up at the town's rec centers, and he wants to make sure it will always be there for the future.
It would have been a shame to let this land go to anything else.
The Wallies say once this land is transformed into a park, they hope it will not only serve as a memorial to their son, but also a place where families can make their own memories. In Southwick, Justine Judge, CBS 3 Springfield.
Another park might be coming to Western Mass in memory of a loved one. The town of East Longmeadow has moved forward with plans to build a memorial to local hero Sergeant Mark Ecker. Homes for Our Troops was set to build a custom house for Ecker on a piece of land between Lindendale Avenue and Gaskell Street in East Longmeadow. The Board of Selectmen voted unanimously to form a committee to study the possibility of putting a memorial park in that location. Ecker was killed in a car accident on Friday. His loss has rippled through Western Mass and affected many.
The town really wants to do something for him and have him be remembered, and to thank him and his parents for their ultimate sacrifice.
Ecker's memorial and funeral begin this Friday and last throughout the weekend. For all the information, log on to CBS3Springfield.com. Springfield residents looking to spruce up the outside of their homes may now be able to get some help. Mass Mutual has announced the kickoff for their Curb Appeal program. It will work with residents living in the State Street corridor to help improve the exterior appearance of their homes. Mass Mutual will provide between $50,000 to $150,000 per year over the next 3 years to eligible residents. Each could receive up to $5,000. Those improvements will include landscaping, roofing, and painting.
It's going to give them the opportunity to increase their property value, which will in turn improve the community, improve the neighborhood. So it's really a win-win all around.
Anyone interested in the project should contact the Springfield Neighborhood Housing Service off of Wilbraham Road. We're following up on the biggest blood drive in Western Mass. Representatives at the Pioneer Valley Red Cross say 409 people showed up to yesterday's event in Chicopee. Nearly 150 gave blood for the first time. Everyone who participated received Friendly's ice cream and a ticket to Six Flags New England. Coming up in tonight's Talkers, Paul McCartney returns for the first time to the place where it all started.
We're getting close. I can feel it.
So now you're psychic.
No.
On to CBS3Springfield.com for the latest in local news.
In tonight's Talkers, it's been 4 decades since a Beatle graced the stage of New York's Ed Sullivan Theater. Until tonight, Sir Paul McCartney will be making an appearance on tonight's Late Show with David Letterman. As Karen Brown tells us, like years before, the fans went wild.
45 years have passed, but Paul McCartney can still bring down the house at the Ed Sullivan Theater. McCartney got back to New York to perform on top of the theater's marquee Wednesday night. Oh, yeah. The place where Beatlemania first set teens on fire. Some who were actually in the theater for the famous live broadcast were back to relive their youth.
Oh, we love you!
What did you think as you were standing there and you got to see the Beatles in America performing?
Exciting. It was exciting because they were new and everything, but I didn't realize what a piece of history that really was.
As fans lined the streets of Manhattan this time, the last time McCartney was here at the Ed Sullivan Theater, 73 million people tuned in. It launched the British invasion, and most fans say it forever changed American pop culture. McCartney performed as part of his appearance on Late Night with David Letterman, a concert so secret the show's crew members didn't even know about it until Tuesday night. Michael Brayshaw snagged a ticket.
We didn't have tickets until this morning. I mean, it was just the luck of the draw.
Fans lined the back door of the theater to get a glimpse of McCartney arriving. Others took pictures out of windows high above the stage. Some will also watch McCartney's return to the home of the Mets. He'll play 2 shows at the team's new stadium this weekend. Karen Brown, CBS News, New York.
It is the golden ticket.
Yeah, everyone's just, oh my goodness. But
73 million people. I mean, it's incredible back then.
You figure that's almost every, yeah, seriously. It's more than the Super Bowl sometimes. I think, I don't know my math there. I think it's right around there at the very least. I mean, it's a lot of people watching that thing. And as you can see, very excited, especially when you get the outdoor concerts. The weather was just gorgeous for the outdoor concert down there. And I think out here, it's going to be pretty good, well, next week. As you can see, we've had a nice run, so now we're going to see some scattered showers and storms come through, so just keep an eye on the sky next couple of days. I think Friday there could be a little bit of a lull in the action, but Saturday as well, also running some scattered showers.
Okay, well, Paul and Dave are up next. We'll see you starting tomorrow at 6. Good night.